Okay, so without further ado, we'll go ahead and connect to Northern Arizona University and take a look at Jack's Planner. So I'm navigating in through an administrative navigation. I want to emphasize that students, advisors, and administrators really see the same view of the plan. Advisors and administrators see a few extra things. So this initial screen is about test mode. I'm going to come back and talk about test mode more a little later. Right now we're going to go into live mode, and so students never see the screen. This is really just for your administrators and advisors who are in a testing capability. And in live mode, the user sees exactly the plan that the student sees. They're seeing the student's plan. If they make any changes to the plan or updates, they'll be seeing that. Again, students always are in live mode. They don't get that option. And so here is our Smart Planner main screen. Something new here is at the top, we have our alerts. And so basically, through a configuration, we have the ability for the school to define certain alerts. These are defined either via PeopleSoft query or via writing SQL. And the idea of an alert query is you write an SQL query where there's one input parameter, one bind value, and that will be the student's ID. We run that query for that particular student, and then if it returns any rows, then we consider that we need to alert the student about the situation that query has detected. And there's kind of two categories. We have off-track alerts and warnings, and if you don't like those names, those are configurable. And so here I'll click on the off-track button, and it says you've not selected a course that meets the diversity requirement. Please select one. And you'll notice that same alert is displayed on the screen. So one of our configuration options is if you have an alert, something you'd like to communicate to the student, you want to make it prominent so they don't have to click a button to see it, we can now do that. And so that's configurable. And then also there's the option of creating a warning. And I just made this one up because there wasn't one, but it says, please see your advisor for important information about a certain course. So it's up to the school to configure whatever alerts you want, but it provides a way of using Smart Planner not just as a planning tool, but as a way of communicating to the student about their status, their progress, and alerting them to anything that might be throwing them off course a little bit. Okay, moving down the page, we have our preferences area. And in the preferences, this is where the user can specify what terms they'd like to attend, how many units they plan to take per term, and we generate this kind of initially for the student, and then they can go in and adjust it. And then here at Northern Arizona, we added this location preferences area, and this again is specific to NAU. And we'll circle back and look at the preferences a little bit later. I'm going to just increase the zoom on my screen a little bit. I've got one person suggesting that it was a little blurry. If anyone else is having a problem, you can post about that and we'll try to address it. Sorry. Okay, it says it's better now. Great. Okay, so moving down the screen, this is again our Smart Planner main screen. I'm going to skip past these action buttons for a moment, and here's really the main content of the screen. So first I want to emphasize that the plan that you're looking at here was completely automatically generated by the system. This is what the student would see the very first time they go in. So it's not just a blank screen where you have to pick your own plan. We actually generate a plan, and that plan is generated based on the student's major. This is a chemistry major. And any progress to date. So that's any courses they've completed, any transfer work, any test credit, any sort of units that they're bringing in. We apply, we know what's completed, what's not completed, and then we take what's not done yet and we go ahead and generate a plan. And that plan is generated using the sequence information that's part of our setup data. And so we can see that in fall 2015, the student already has a number of courses in progress, so we don't really need to plan anymore for that term. In spring 2016, it's suggesting a number of chemistry and biology courses. As we scroll down through it, you can see that for this particular major, a lot of the lines, they only really have one course to choose from, and so that the system automatically populates or selects that course. They don't have to select it. But in cases where there are options, it'll say not selected, and then the student has to go and pick the course that they want to take from the available options. So I'm just gradually scrolling down so you can see that the plan actually takes them through the end of their degree, a full 8 terms. So I'm going to scroll back up here and just show you, so here's one line where they have an option of 3 different courses, and so we can go in and pick one, simple enough. And so it's going to display the course selector and give us a choice of which of those courses we'd like to take. And there we go. Oh, it looks like only 2 of them are actually possible in the particular term. It could be one of them was not offered in that term. But here on the course selection screen, we have a bunch of information. Obviously, we see the subject catalog number. If we click the information icon, we get the full course catalog details, including where this course is typically offered, online and in Flagstaff in this case. And then if we say, well, we don't want to take an online course, we want to take it in person in Flagstaff, we can click here, and then actually let me switch that. If we want to take an online course, it's going to go ahead and filter down, and now we only see the one course, which is online, and we'll go ahead and select that. It's going to populate it back into the student's plan. And now if we click the information icon here, we can get the same catalog information at this level. Okay. That was a pretty simple one where there are only a few courses to choose from. But if we go towards the end of the plan, they have liberal studies, which is how they refer to general education. And we'll go ahead and select a course there. You'll see there's quite a few more options. And just takes a moment for the course selector to appear. So it's gathering all the courses that are available for this line. It's filtering them for the locations that the student has chosen. And again, we got the same type of information, but now we have 156 courses to choose from. And this is where we can use our checkbox filters to kind of narrow in on the courses that we're really interested in. So let's suppose that we want to take a course in person in Flagstaff, and that'll take us from 156 down to 146. And let's suppose we know we want to do a 200 level course, and suppose that we really want to take an art course. And so very quickly we go from 156 courses down to the one that satisfies the student's needs. We can go ahead and check the course catalog information. What is this course about? Yep, that's what I'd really like to take, video art. And so we'll go ahead and select that. And now it's added back into their plan. In addition to selecting courses that are part of their sequence, the student has the ability to pick just sort of a course maybe for just general enrichment, something that they're interested in, by clicking the Add Course link. And so now it's loading up a slightly different course selection screen where they can sort of pick from any course that's available in the catalog for that term and for their preferred locations. And so this takes a moment to load because it is a large number of courses, probably thousands. And the screen will look a little different than the one we saw a moment ago. Great. So here we have a drop down. We can say, you know, I'd really like to pick up an anthropology course. And then let's go ahead and make it interesting and pick a variable units, special topics in anthropology for 2 units. So if it's variable units, we do allow them to pick that. Again, they get the course description, they get the location information right there so they can make sure it's what they're looking for. We say, okay, it's going to populate that course back into their plan. So at this point, we've seen how you can select a course and how you can add something additional to your plan. And then in a moment, I will show you how we can remove courses from the plan. And this has been improved a little bit since the last time. The system, this is a non-production system, so it is taking a moment. At this point, because we added a new class, we've got some additional units, it did have to update the plan. And so that's why it did take a moment. Okay, but let's suppose this chemistry physics 161 that the student knows that they're going to be transferring that in from another institution. So we can hit the X and it says, do you want to remove this course from your planner? And if you do want to remove it, you can then go ahead and select a reason. These reasons are configurable. And so we select a reason, we say okay. It's going to remove the course from the plan. It's also going to adjust and update the plan. Now there's a little more space in that term, and so it's going to try and shift things a little earlier if it can. And so the student is claiming or stating that they're going to complete the course by transfer. And we have a lot of disclaimers both on this screen and as you'll see in a moment that say, you know, you're not exempt from the course, you still are responsible for it. And then the course does appear at the bottom of the main page once you have removed it. So it says it has removed it, it's at the bottom of the page now. And now a new section has appeared, manually remove requirements, and you can see here's physics 161, who removed it, that's me. and then the reason why they removed it is stored. And if you click on this, you get kind of the full little report about who removed it and why and when they removed it. And if we realize that it was removed by mistake, it's simply a matter of clicking the restore button to push that course back into the plan. But we'll leave it removed for now. So at this point, I want to circle back to the preferences area. And the first thing I'd like to show you is how easy it is to adjust your term and unit preferences. So suppose this student knows that they're going to be they'll be stopping out in spring of 2016. We can go ahead and remove that from their plan. And let's suppose that they're going to go ahead and maybe pick up some courses in the summer of 2016, perhaps 6 units in the summer. And let's go also and add a term maybe towards the end of their plan. So let's see how far is this. This is 2018 fall, so we'll add a 2019 spring, and we'll give them about another 12 units there. So this is the plan for this student. If you were a part-time student, you could take all these down to 6 or 8 units and then add as many terms as you need to complete your degree. And then our Smart Planner engine is running now and finding an optimal plan based on these new terms and units that we've just entered. And you'll see in a moment that the spring 2016 has disappeared, that summer 2016 will be added. The system will attempt to find courses that are available during that term, and then we'll have an extra spring term down here at the very end of the plan. And so let's see what happened. So the spring is gone. It found 2 courses that are available in the summer. And then if we go down to the bottom of the plan, we'll see it has added spring 2019 and has placed things there. So in just a few moments, the system automatically rearranged the plan. And you can imagine if you were an advisor sitting with a student and the student wanted to do what we've just done, it would take quite a bit of flipping through the catalog and online and figuring out how can we rearrange this to fit what we're planning to do. But the Smart Planner does that in just a few moments. And that's really one of the big advantages of it. Okay, now I want to go in and look at the location preferences. And this is new and it's specific to Flagstaff, but could easily be done for any other school that's interested. And so we have location preferences, and here are all of the regional campuses for Northern Arizona University. And let's suppose that this particular student is open to taking courses at Flagstaff or online and perhaps the Yavapai campus. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. And now it's saying, you know, you've changed your location preferences, so it's going to have to rearrange the plan. You're going to have to maybe go and select a few courses again. And so now it's running our Smart Planner engine. It's going to return to the main screen, taking into account that Yavapai is now an option. One of our campuses in Northwest Arizona. And this will return to the main screen shortly. So it has to go and recheck the plan. There we go. And so now you can see Yavapai appears as one of their location preferences. And then that's kind of an across-the-board preference. But if we go back into that liberal studies course here, what we're going to see is that Yavapai, it's going to go and present courses that are available at that Yavapai campus. Just give me a moment. So right there, so now Yavapai is available as a location, and we can filter by that. And then it's going to show us, oh, there actually is a course in that term that they can use to fulfill that requirement at Yavapai. So let's go ahead and select that one. And now that's back in their plan. So that's sort of briefly what you can do with location enhancements that we did for Northern Arizona University. I'm going to leave the main screen now and show you a few other screens. I'd like to jump over to the overview screen. And so the overview screen, some schools choose this as kind of the initial landing screen. Other schools have decided that they'd like students to click a button to see this screen. This just gives you a nice sort of graphical overview of where you are in your progress towards your degree. And so you can see this particular student has completed about a quarter of their work, 9% in progress, 63% is still in the future. So they're somewhere in the beginning of their sophomore year. And then we take this graph and we break it down further by various categories, major, general elective, and so on. These categories are configurable. You can call them whatever you like for your university. And if you hover the mouse over any of these sections, you can get a little bit more detail. So you can see that this person's made good progress on these distribution courses, are beginning to make progress on their major, and so on, but they have quite a bit left to do, as you would expect. Then below, we can see their major and their chemistry with a biochemistry focus. And then we take the same information in this graph and we do break it down per area, the same areas that are shown graphically above, so you can see the units very clearly. If the person had multiple majors or minors, then you would see additional grids like this for each of them. So the graphs show you a summary across all majors and minors, and then you get the full breakdown for each major. And so you can see they've got 120 units here, and then another 2 units that we manually added. That's where the student is at. And that's the overview. Now, we've seen how you can select courses, how you can add and remove courses, but if you want to rearrange things, we have this handy drag and drop screen. And so through simply dragging and dropping, you can go ahead and rearrange your plan. Now, these courses all have to be in a very strict order, so I'm going to be a little careful as to what I drag and drop. And the drag and drop does enforce that order. I'll show you that in a moment. I take one of these courses here, like this elective. I can drag that into the spring of 2019. I say, OK, that's the major elective. Keep that in mind. We'll say OK, and we'll go back to the main screen. You'll see the major elective has been moved. And I'll go back in and I'll drag something that's a pre-requirement and see what happens. So it says it has updated the plan. It noticed that one of the terms, the units, has decreased, just alerting you to that fact. And if we go down here to spring of 2019, you'll see that the major elective course has in fact moved to that term. I'm going to go back up here and click Arrange again, and this time I'm going to intentionally create a problem. So let's suppose that the student wants to take this chemistry class, which is a prerequisite, and wants to take it much later. Obviously, this is not going to work out, but I just want to do this to show you the type of messaging that occurs. And so we're going to get a message saying basically that that course is out of order, and that the drag and drop rearrange is not going to work. So here we see there's quite a few dependencies that the Chem 152 has to be taken before quite a few other courses here. And so we better not do that. And so at this point, we can simply just hit reset. It's going to put things back the way they were. And I'm going to cancel out of this. But you can see how the student is reminded and how we enforce the drag and drop. Through the drag and drop, they have to maintain a valid plan that respects pre-requirements, co-requirements, and so forth, units per term, and so on. Let's have a look at the JAX Planner report now. So I'm sure you're all familiar. With the. So I'll try this one more time. You're all familiar with the advisement report, which for a typical major, typical university, might be 10 or 20 pages. And we have our JAX Planner report. I'm running into an issue here. Give me a moment. Which kind of summarizes the information in okay, let's try it again. Summarizes the information about their progress in just a page or two using handy colorful icons. I had to, I think it's regenerating the plan here. Try that again. Okay, great. So here's the JAX Planner report. And you can see on the left, we have semester by semester the ideal sequence for the major that's provided by the department, coded up by your functional team. And then on the right, we have the student's progress to date. And so we have colored icons that kind of let you see very easily. Green check mark is completed, the yellow diamond in progress. Then we have planned with a blue star, and not planned, that just simply means they haven't selected a course yet, and so on. So simply by glancing at this, you get a pretty good sense of where the student is and what is left to do. If the student has transferred in courses, depending on how your school represents that, you can see this person has Spanish with a grade of T. Most likely that's a transfer course. If they took it in a particular semester, you would see the grade that they received. As I said before, we do handle transfer credit, test credit, other credit, any other sorts of ways of satisfying these requirements. Okay. And finally here, I want to show you our what-if capability. So this allows the student to explore other majors. So what if this student wanted to change from chemistry to accounting? And we can see what the impact would be on their plan. Oops, I have to select a plan term. Fall 2015 catalog. And we'll go ahead and in an earlier version, you were only able to pick one area of study. Now you can pick up to 3, and actually at NYU you can pick quite a few more. But that was easy to adjust. So here now we can see the plan for this same student as though they were an accounting major. And again, you can see through the colored icons what's done, what's not, what's currently in progress. We can also get a look at their what-if study plan. That's a semester-by-semester enrollment view of what the student would have to take to complete a different major. Okay. So I think that's about it in terms of a demo. We've covered sort of the main functionality. I just want to reinforce that the Smart Planner, we do have our Smart Planner engine that automatically generates optimal plan, and that as the user interacts with the system, we continue to run those algorithms to optimize based on their choices. It's really easy to adjust your terms and unit preferences. At NAU, you can adjust your location preferences, and then we'll find a plan that fits those intentions.